Hey guys, so here we have the frog stretch and we're going to do this with some active contractions to make it useful. Right, ideally you want a surface that's going to allow your knees to slide, and if they don't, just one that isn't necessarily going to hurt your knees when you're doing the contractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this wooden board because I can slide well on here. There we go, and you'll get the idea. So I'm going to start on all fours, my knees down. From here, I'm going to take my knees apart. I'm not going to go to max range, not yet. But I'm going to go a bit wider than hip width. What I'm going to make sure I do, if you can take a look at my ankles, I'm going to place the insides of my feet on the floor. Also, I want the ankle in line with the knee. That's more important. If the foot doesn't go down onto the floor, no problem. But get the ankle and the knee in line. Right. From here, get a little bit wider. I'm going to place my forearms down on the floor. And now I'm ready to start the stretch. Now, the idea for this stretch is instead of sinking down like this, what I want you to focus on doing is pushing the knees wider. Let the feet match. Get to, again, somewhere which provides a little bit of discomfort in the groin. And with your pelvis, I want you to be careful not to have it tucked under like this, but also not to really worry about sticking it out so much either. So somewhere relatively neutral is good. Now, we're going to add a contraction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my glutes and I'm going to clamp my knees in together. So I'm going to think about trying to clamp the floor with my knees, really pulling them in as hard as I can. Clamp, clamp, clamp for about 10 seconds. Number 3, 2, 1. I'm going to relax, and as I relax, we're going to push the knees out further. And again, ankles are going to follow. Now from here, in my passive, while I'm passive and I'm not contracting, I'm just going to do little pulses. Just very small, easy pulses. I can even just sit into it, so I can push a little deep, but not too far. Just like a small amount. I don't want to lose the line of my hips and my knees too much, so I want to keep the hips relatively in line with the knees. A little pulse back is okay. And now I'm going to go for my next contraction. So 10 seconds, squeeze, 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 clamp, clamp the knees together, and then we're going to go wider. Okay, now the idea is to try and get as wide as possible with the knees while keeping the ankles in line with the knee, and also keeping the hip relatively in line as well. And again, once you get that range, you can just pulse around, you can move around in it. Keep the pelvis relatively neutral, don't stick it out too much, don't tuck it under. And this is your frog stretch. So you've got the contractions and you've got the passive hold. Your programming will dictate how long your contractions should be and how long the passive hold should be. Anyway, when coming out of this stretch, it can be quite uncomfortable. Personally, I'd recommend to just lie flat on the floor and then slowly bringing the legs together. It's a bit of a bitch. But this is a great hip opener, good for your squat, and it really gets into the adductors nicely.